And there's one more oil that we're going to layer in, and that is either wintergreen or birch. Birch is hard to get. It's becoming an endangered species, and so we're using wintergreen instead. This is an oil that works with the bones and taking inflammation out of the bones. It's very good for rheumatoid arthritis and other kinds of arthritis.
And so are you moving the bones slightly with your intention when you have your hands on the head in creating space?
You may be moving the bones or you may be following the bones.
Okay.
It depends on the chosen technique. And remember what I said before, you may be actually doing some pressure or you may be very passive.
Right.
So
you have a little friend here.
yes.
Does he have a name or she have a name?
My sculptural self-portrait. No, he doesn't have a name, or she doesn't have a name, because she's plastic.
Okay.
But you can see the parts of the skull that fit together. These are called the sutures, and originally they thought, actually they know, that this is the way that the parts are developed in sections of the skull, and then they come together. And it was thought that they fused and that was it. They never moved again. But what we know now is that they actually have movement, not only between the parts, but within the parts themselves. Each part moves. So it's very, very subtle. And as you might see here, this is where the spinal cord comes down and goes down the back, like that. And the fluid is all around that and all around the brain inside the cranium, the skull.
So you can really see how one bone, even one bone that has had any kind of trauma is going to affect so many other parts of us.
Everything.
In our face, and then thus the rest of our body if it's affecting the spinal cord.
Since you haven't experienced this before?
Well, I think maybe I'd like to know, do we just go right into the water, or is there a gentle entry, or how does that work?
We'll begin with a pause and some prayer. Then you'll step in and gradually get wet all over. And I'm going to give you the flotation pillow and you start the relaxing into the water.
Okay, it's a perfect day. It's stunningly beautiful here.
You called it in good.
And we're ready to start. So let's go.
Let's get wet.
Okay. Oh, it feels great.
Oh, goodness. Ready to just let go.
Oh.
And just free up that spinal cord. Let the cerebral spinal fluid redistribute itself as it wants to. All these changes need some time to really get set in place so that she will be moving with them with grace in a few minutes. So this is a time where she just lets herself be.
And the other thing is that people don't realize that they go into hypnosis many times a day. Whether it's driving in your car and getting from one place to the next and not realizing, how did I get here? That's highway hypnosis. Or whether you're daydreaming in school. One of the things that I say that I think would be so wonderful, if teachers knew how often the children that are daydreaming are really open to the suggestions that they're being given, they wouldn't get upset with those students. They'd say, you're going to remember everything that I've said, you'll be able to access this information, and then there wouldn't be as much drama at school if people understood that this daydream is really a powerful suggestive time.
I wish someone had said that to me in my daydreaming school days.
Yeah, and also when you wake up in the morning or when you go to sleep, you're in that hypnagogic state where everything's kind of dreamy. It's a very powerful time to offer suggestions, you know, really powerful, positive suggestions.
And what I like to say is it really, it's hard to pinpoint the beginning. That hypnosis and hypnotherapy are actually modern words for something that we have been capable of and have been engaged in throughout time.
Yes.
It just had different words, and it was commonplace to know about and how to traverse these levels of consciousness.
Okay, so we're going to begin by having you go backwards in the chair. Okay, and we lock the chair in so you can move.
Okay.
If you like. And what I'd like you to do is take 3 nice deep breaths. And just, you worked in the hospital for quite a long time and also at home. What are the differences that you feel there are working in each of those situations?
Working in the hospital, you're under so many time constraints. You have to, in the clinic, see so many patients in a certain amount of time. People need to have babies almost according to somebody's schedule sometimes.
Right.
And as a nurse midwife, we tried to make the hospital as much like the home setting as we could, given the fact that there were strangers there and nurses and doctors and other people. But at home, it's like being home. You're comfortable, it's familial. We can spend as long as you like on your prenatal visits. We can sit and talk for hours. Right. You can bring your family and bring your kids and your husband and your relatives and anybody who might want to be at the birth.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about what the placenta is in the first place.
The placenta is the baby's connection into the mom. This is the mommy side of the placenta, and this is the baby side of the placenta. And this is the tree of life. If you see all the veins come into the umbilical cord.
This is a much larger version.
This version is made appropriately sized to an adult. So you can see if this is how big a placenta is to an adult, you can see the relative importance to a baby.
And today we have a special musical presentation with the Voice Weavers Choir led by Rhonda Rice.
I will be gentle with myself.